everybody saw family. My family lives in California. And I was playing with Mocha Trail helicopters, and we were trying to come up with stunts for Facebook. So Jenna was supposed to like cartwheel over the helicopter, so we practicing and trying to fly it. And then the wind, we just decided the wind was like, we'll just blow over that. Then I did the little doll talk with Anderson Silva because I knew he was fighting. And then we were calling people. And but yeah, we did get people like, yeah, right, this is him. Come on. Can't you tell my voice anyway? But yeah, we did that. So stay tuned to my Facebook page, also the J. Stan Frank official fan page. I got the zippers back here. My zipper's been open and it's so embarrassing. Anyone ever done that to you? Like, man, you're and then the way they talk to you is they're like, man, your zipper's undone. They like, really like uncomfortable. I would just be like, dude, your zipper, dude. What's wrong with you? I didn't want,
my pants have buttons.
Unleash the Dragon Dagger. Make my monster grow. No. So where were we? All right.
Jason David, Frank experience, everybody.
Frank experience. First of all, I love doing these VIPs. Originally, it started because New York Comic Con was super huge lines, and I really like to have little smaller, intimate VIPs. And my whole purpose behind the VIP was just to kind of motivate people and just stuff like that. So hopefully you can walk away with the question. And I mean, I can think, what's wrong with him?
He's upset.
Why?
He said something that was said. Not me.
Who upset the guy? Nobody? All right. You found out Zordon died? He fell out of the bubble? No. Rangers, Zordon. Yeah, I mean, if Zordon was talking to the ocean and he fell, he couldn't even swim or anything. He just like, anyway, so I'd like to kind of like give you guys something to leave with, some kind of motivational thing or something you can, I just want people to leave with the I can do it type of thing, and anything you can do is not silly. I started these cons a while back, and I just thought maybe reaching out to the fans. So I tried, and just so you know, like every show I go on to, I just wave all appearances fee, and I don't care if I make money. That's not the issue. That's not what my table's about. And people always post on Facebook, or that's not what it's about. But I started like a long time ago, and I remember there was hardly people in line, and it just built and built and built. And so it's a progression that builds, but I think it's the relationships you have with people. That's the only difference with me and other people, is that I'm here for the long term. I've been here since the long term. I don't pop out when it's like, oh, now I'm going to do it. I believe in it. And what happens is, I'll give you a story with Jesus and Intact Clothing Line. Now, I don't push that on people. We all have your own beliefs and all. I have my own beliefs. But nobody believed in the company. Like, they're like, oh, no. And the Army pulled it off the mat. So I try to really struggle to figure out how I can get this up there. So instantly we were like top sellers into the MMA, and I had everybody come back. Oh, I want to. Yeah, man, I'm going to definitely take your shirts. And I was like, no, not really. I don't want you carrying them. How come? I said, you didn't believe in it in the first place. So now only time people believe in it is when they see numbers. So all of a sudden they believe in you. If your mom says, don't do that, I don't, and then, oh, wait a second, you not making money from that? Oh, you're so good at it, man. Just keep going, But most of the times moms are always encouraging, and they want you to follow your dreams. So think about it. My mom always said, I can follow my dream, and they give you the encouragement. So, but where are those people now that gives you those encouragement? You get nothing but negativity. Sometimes on internet, you post something so nice, and you do something so nice for someone. Like I was telling you, a fan, I sign. I get hundreds of fan mail, and I read them all. I mean, you have to understand, I have 3 days off a week. I'm on tour like all the time, so I have to balance the family time. Even on Christmas, I took time out for my fans and called people, and and so I sign stuff, and I'll put it back in the envelope. Sometimes I can't write to Dear Smith. I will say thanks for the gift that they wrote, gave me a gift or something. So, I signed something for someone, and then I just read, like, they don't think I read, but I read everything, and I see a post like, can't believe he didn't send me a free sticker, and I can't believe he didn't, he didn't sign, no letter, no explanation, and it was 2 months late, and I kind of felt like, man, like, you know what, I mean, I was a little behind, but at least you got it. I mean, you know what I mean? You can sit there and say you don't have it, so when I read stuff like that, I don't let it ruin it for everyone else. I don't let the fans just kind of suck me dry of negativity. You know what I mean? I got to be there for the other people. So it's not like we block people or anything like that. I just want everything to be positive. And so I want to be that guy for you all to be like, hey, I didn't have someone in my life, or this guy would have heard to say I can do it and I can achieve my goals. It's sort of had growing up. Now, most of us, some of us maybe didn't have that, you know, father or mom and all that stuff, or a close relationship, something like that, but we can't let that hold us back for who we want to be, you know what I mean? So I always look at it and say, if I held myself back because I didn't have, you know, a lot of money and people were telling me no, I didn't let that hold me back. I just kind of built my future, and you guys can do that now, and it can start today. I mean, there's, you know, sometimes when you're off for a centimeter, and then the centimeter in due time, like, just take a little centimeter and just do this, like, just start like this. And then in due time, like, it just gets this big. All of a sudden, you have this big, huge problem now. That wasn't a huge problem. Maybe it was something that was said. That's why we need to get to the bottom of what that guy is, because we don't want to, he was a very nice guy yesterday. Don't want it to turn into a big issue. You know what I mean? And we have to kill it, like, right away. So if you're doing something you feel like it's just a miss, just rewind it and go back to the answer, to the answer that it's just off by a centimeter. And so nothing problem is too big that you can solve if you just think about it. Maybe you said something to your wife, that girlfriend, boyfriend, that it's just the way you say things. Obviously, it's a proven fact that he got upset for the way someone said something, and maybe it wasn't supposed to be said that way. You know, and words are very, very touchy. When I post things on Facebook, I'm really touchy on my words. Stay away from kind of politics. And who goes for president? I say, hey, Zordon. Anyway, that's kind of what I like you all to get away with, just something like that. But I know we'll do some Power Ranger questions, fight questions, any other questions you all have that I can answer for you. I just want to put that in your head, so now I can feel like something was accomplished over a VIP versus just, you know, and you leave kind of like, that's why do we have that guy's name? I don't worry about it. All right, I don't worry about him. I don't want him complaining or feeling something, you know. Martial arts is like that. When kids quit, there's always a reason why they're quitting. Parents are like, we'll just quit. No, there's a reason why. They either caught on to its responsibility, they caught on to being in trouble by the sensei, give me 10 push-ups, or you weren't listening at home. The kids catch on to this, oh, karate's this responsibility thing, if you're learning right, unless you're at a Cobra Kai school. But, you know, and they catch on, so there's a reason why. And if you don't get that, you know, I tell parents, I'm like, what's the big deal? I'm like, the big deal is because your kid probably did something that he can't do. Your kid probably did something that he can't do, and now he's going to go away with that one thing that will haunt him for the rest of his life. And even though it might be a self-esteem thing, it might be people were laughing at me, or it's just too hard, and they stop. That's why I never stop and never give up. Nothing's too hard, just going through it. You know, yes, you see what I'm saying? It's kind of baby talk right now. So let's get started. Some questions that you all have. Some questions. Yes.
Well, first, I want to thank you for coming out.
Thank you.
Great. What was one of your most memorable moments from Power Rangers, and then after that from like a convention? So one of each.
My most memorable, in regards to the cons, this is what I'm saying. Everybody told me I wasn't going to have fan base. Every agent, everybody said New York Comic Con is just, you don't have the fan base in New York Comic Con. I believe in myself. I pay my own way, even like Wizard World to come. Tickets, hotels, I believe in y'all. So I believe that I'm going to have a fan base. So I believed in myself in New York. I only had to schedule 1 hour to signing. So they let me, and they said, okay, fine. We don't know if you have a fan base. We'll let you come and go from there. So I started almost doubting myself too. I told Tammy, let's go to the New York, and all else fails, we'll have a nice trip, and we'll go do this hour. So when I got to the New York Comic Con, there was nobody in my line, and that's like the worst feeling. But this is the answer to it. So I was like, let's just go do this. Let's just have fun at the city. And I was like, okay. They gave me an hour. I was like, all right. So what do I do? And I said, I don't have anybody in line. They're like, oh, that's not your line. This is your line. And it just went, and I started seeing Green Ranger shirts, and the line went for 6 hours straight. It was the hugest line, and I have videos on YouTube. It's just the craziest line, and people, Jason. And so instantly I said, oh, I believed in myself. You know, I was blessed. I didn't give up. I didn't believe all the other agencies. I didn't believe all the other nonstop talk, and I believe in my fans, and I believe in what's going to happen. And it was just overwhelming, and they cut the line off, and it was just people were crying and were upset, and I was like, dang. I was like, I need to stay and sign. They're like, well, I said, I don't care. I'll go outside. I mean, there's no way I'm going to cut a line off. I just don't. I don't believe in it. I've seen it happen way too much in conventions. Right when you're there, sorry. Like, what? and you almost can't believe it. It's like a joke. So that was my most memorable experience. And from that, I booked New York Comic Con almost every year, have 4 complete days, and I have 4 complete days of nonstop fans, right? Thousands of them. That was my most memorable. And then the most memorable on Power Rangers is walking into that command center. I didn't know how filming worked. I'm not from Hollywood. I was really hitting people, and then I was hitting the putties. I thought that's what you're supposed to do. I didn't know Hollywood Kung Fu, so all the guys were like, man, you need to lighten up. And I was like, you know, I came from fighting, so I learned Hollywood Kung Fu. But the first day I walked into the command center, there's nothing but a big green screen, you know, because they'll drop in the Zordon, and then the command centers, and I remember going, man, this is cool. And I leaned against the command center, and it went like that. Because you see, everything's on wheels, so they're like, okay, let's shoot over here. And then the command center's over here, and the camera's there, so I didn't know they'd just wheel all this stuff around. And I remember that was like, my honest opinion was like, man, this cheap ass. But anyway, I remember that, and I remember all of it was on wheels, and but that was my most memorable experience. And then I'm like, okay, no clue what Phantoms was. That was the audition, and no clue at all. And it was just a green screen, and I didn't even know what Zordon looked like. I'm like, just talk here. All right, Zordon. So then when all put together, I was like, now I can put a real face to the voice, and just a face to the voice. And then it started from there. So that was my most memorable. I think coming onto set and seeing all that stuff. But let me tell you, you don't have a good base, roots of like martial arts and being humble, fame can get to your head like that. Like I've seen people, I just didn't get along with actors. I get along with truck drivers. My dad's a truck driver, and I get along. Like everyone ignores the little people. That's how I felt on Hollywood. Like you can't talk even here sometimes. I don't think I'm in the green room sitting here going, God, this is so uncomfortable. You know, and I don't put anyone, I keep everyone equal. Because you never know who you're going to run into, which has happened to me on set before. Like Gene Simmons and all these people come, and I have no clue who they are. And it's how you treat people. Like, I go to the con floor, and I want to pick up a green lightsaber, and I touch it, the guy don't know who I am, he just reams me. Why did you do that? Who did you touch? And I'm just thinking, okay, dude. And then I walk away, and they're like, dude, that's the Green Ranger. You should have let him take a picture. I'm like, nah, I don't want to. Because that tells me that you treat people that way, but you're going to treat me special. When people always said, I'm going to give you a free TV, I'm like, why? I'm like, why are you giving me free TV? I'm on a show to make money. Well, why don't you get that guy a free TV that has no money? That's how I was all the time, and I just never understood it. The more famous you get and the richer you are, everyone wants to give you something free. You know what I mean? So it's great, and I appreciate it. Someone give us free dessert, right? Maybe all drinks, I drink sparkling water, and the guy recognized that. That's a nice gesture, but most of the time, I just rather help the guy behind me. If someone's gonna give me a free coffee, give it behind. And people, it's good to see that. The heck? And then what's that, man? You leave like a hero, I never say it. So, but that was my most memorable experience. Yes.
I wanted to ask about the episode of Family Matters that you did, where you played the bully, getting beaten up by Bruce Lee, or the Steve Urkel, Bruce Lee, whatever. I want to see what your experience on that was.
Well, I know every VIP is always different, and I've never explained this on YouTube or anything, but because it's just too hard to explain. When I went to Family Matters, I ran into a guy, Ronaldo, I believe his name was. He was the black leader of the Piranhas, and he actually worked on Power Rangers. He was actually on Power Rangers before. I think one of the evil Rangers, I'm not too sure, but if you look and put his name down, no one will know it, but put his name to Power Rangers, he was on Power Rangers. So I knew him from Power Rangers, and we were actually writing a movie together. And so I knew him already, so I was like, oh. And then I went there, and the coordinator was named Jeff Pruitt. If you Google Jeff Pruitt, he was the guy that was doing all the stunts and all that stuff. So I already knew those guys. And everyone was like, you're going to get beat up by Urkel. I was like, who cares, dude? I don't really, it's fun. My character's name was Skull, so I was like, ooh, Skull from Power Rangers. And I never forget it. It was like a live audience, and that was the first time I'm filming in a live audience. But we'll do it like, okay, roll, action, cut, people in the audience will clap and all that stuff. So when they were having me do really easy stunts, like me falling into that, they're like, are you okay with that? And I'm like, what do you mean? I was like, yeah, I'll do that. I'll fall in that all day long. And they're like, all right, you get a stump bump for that. And I was like, stump bump? What the heck's a stump bump? And they're like, well, you get 2,000 to fall in that. And then I was like, where else do you need me to fall? You fall off that horse, you all need me to go back into the, and it was one of those, and I was just thinking stump bumps. I mean, even though I did that for fun, I made so much money on the Family Matters. I couldn't believe it. And so, like I'm saying, sometimes you don't know what you're gonna get if you're nice. And I remember some guy says, I need you to do a voiceover, and I was like, oh, I'm so busy. I'll do a voiceover, who cares? And I went in there and I'll just simply say, everything was included in our, you know, whatever our salary. And so I said it anyway. I was like, sir, are you gonna eat those fries? Well, it ended up on a McDonald's commercial. And I probably made more money on the McDonald's commercial than I ever done in my life. And sir, are you gonna eat those fries? When the movie came out, and I was thinking, so glad I did that, because if I didn't, it wouldn't be what it is. Same with Bat and the Sun. If I didn't agree to doing Bat and the Sun, and I didn't know who he was at all, I said, yeah, I'll do it. I'm thinking, poor guy, he's trying to start a little YouTube thing, and wants me to do this White Ranger versus Scorpion, you know. I wonder how it's gonna look. I'll do the voices, and I'll do this. And I did, and it turned out to be 4 million hits and growing strong, and now we're doing a Green Ranger superhero beatdown. But that's happened to me numerous times, even on interviews. Someone will come up and say, can I do an interview? And it's a cheap little camera, and you're like, yeah, man, no problem. Let's do it. And then it ends up on some big channel that's like actually a really big news thing. So just imagine if I was like, no, dude, I don't want to do a camera, I'm going to end up on TMZ somewhere or something, you know? And I do that to give everyone an equal opportunity. But I really think, at least for me, is when I meet someone, regardless, I don't know, and you can ask Francis, I don't know who these actors are. But I tell you what, John, what's his last name? From Washington, Bernthal, very nice guy. Like, I met him, man, we just kind of like bonded. I didn't know who he was. Yeah, he was from that movie with The Rock. Yeah. I treat people how they treat me. I really do. It's just like a mirror. If they treat you good, it's not like if they treat me bad, I'll just walk away. Block it, cut it. You know what I mean? Someone says something bad on Facebook, don't even respond. Doesn't matter. Gotta love your haters.
He said haters gonna hate.
Yeah, I mean, you know, you gotta love some haters too. I mean, they, you know, talk about you. Speaking of haters, Morphin Madness, you all voted on that?
Yeah.
Morphinmadness.com. That just gives you an idea of how that whole thing, like, it was like, you know, they just kept voting, and that was 80%, and the next day Francis 33%. I'm like, how is it 33%? Because they just put this band together where they're like, let's vote Tommy down, Tommy. And they just kept voting, refresh, all day long. And I did complain. I said, y'all, it's like cheating. That's like, you know, and I told my fans to vote once a day. I didn't tell them to refresh their cookies, vote. Well, I let it go. I said, you know, as long as I know, God knows, and my fans know, it's fine. And the next day was fixed, you know, and the Green Ranger won. So sometimes you just gotta like, just cut ties and don't let the negative come into your, because it's like cancer, man. You know, you ever talk to that person that's just so negative, and they'll walk away and they're like, thanks for talking, man, I feel much better. And then they leave you with all the residual problems. You're like, yeah, no problem, I'm glad you feel better. You know? Yes.
Mine's not really a question, mine's more of a comment, and I'll try to make it quick. I'm not sure if you remember us, but about a year ago, we were talking to you on Facebook about our mom who had cancer,
Yeah.
and you kept on shooting
Yeah,
prayers.
that's where I know y'all from.
Yeah, and all this stuff, and I just want to let you know that they gave her 3 to 6 months to live, and it's almost a year, and she is now cancer-free.
Yeah.
And I just want to and I just wanted to personally, because I promised myself I would personally wanted to thank you in person for your prayers, and I know that had a lot to do with it.
Yeah, I appreciate that.
My mom wanted to be here to thank you too. So.
Well, thanks, Mom. I'm happy for you, and congratulations. I'll send my love to you. Just keep your faith. That's awesome. You know, and I'll get to questions, but you never know when you're running a marathon and how close you are to that finish line before you stop. Because I always have this vision in my head, like there's this yellow vision, whatever, piece of tape, and it's not like cop tape where someone died. It's like a finish line tape, you know. So, but for me, like run, and the mountain's blocking it, and it always blocks it until you run and you quit, and then you walk around the mountain, and the finish line's right there. So you never know. That's why you just can't stop. You don't know what's going to happen in your life, your career, how to do things, acting, stunts, whatever it is. You have to like keep running it, and keep training, and just keep going. I mean, that's like that's the idea behind it. You know. Go ahead. I know. You lucky shirt. Lucky says lucky what? Oh,
Sure.
what's your shirt say? Lucky shirt.
It's kind of a two-parter. One, I did watch my Morning Life 2.
Oh yeah. Thanks for mentioning it. Thank you, man. Y'all watched my reality show? It's on Bat in the Sun?
Yeah.
Okay. Episode 3 will be coming out soon, but thank you.
And I noticed that you were kind of shaking there, you know, kind of pushing yourself. a little
Episode
hard.
2?
Yeah.
Yeah, you know that. I mean, oh, it was bad. There was no drama. It was no mock-up. That was real.
Are you doing all right with that?
Oh, yeah, I'm fine. Totally fine. I think we might have caught something from Thailand or something. Yeah, I was fine. It just was off and on. And that's the hardest thing, that I don't, you know, I'll be honest, last con, I don't know what happened, like Sunday last week, I just started like, I don't know, maybe it was vitamins, I felt like I just started throwing up, man, it was bad, and I was like, man, I don't know if I can make it, and but there was no option. I told them, I said, there's no option. They're like, let's play it by ear. I said, there's no option, I'll see you at 11 o'clock, and it might have been vitamins or whatever it is, but just right here, I just kept, reading healing things like over and over, and I was fine. You know what I mean? So I'm okay now. I know. Yes.
Me?
Yes.
What was your favorite role on Power Rangers?
Tommy. Actually, I take it back. It was fun to be a doctor. I don't know where I became a doctor, but it was like Dr. Oliver, Dr. O. Ranger.
Yeah, which Ranger?
I like the green. Everyone seems to be leaning towards the white, but I'm happy. I think the white is more popular because of Bat in the Sun. Because the White Ranger versus. But man, I like them all. I know green was the first Ranger I ever was, and it's kind of stuck in my head. You know what I mean? It's just always right here. But
I was gonna ask, did you have a favorite Ranger that you worked with on any series that you were on?
yeah, I mean,
Like
one of my
someone that
best
you were
friends. Well, obviously Dave was my best friend. So when I hear that junk out there, I was mean and all. But he was my best friend. I stayed at his house and we'd hang out after set. So I mean, Dave was probably my best friend. He, next time you see him, tell him he killed my dog. It was by accident though. He babysitted my dog, and I went to Hawaii or something, and he didn't know how to tell me that the dog ate poison in my backyard. It was a puppy, and he was so scared to tell me. So after a week when I was back, I was like, "So what's up, man? Where's my dog?" He was just like, "I gotta tell you something." So he didn't want to tell me over vacation. So next time, say, "Hey, I heard you killed JDF's dog." He'd be like, "Oh my God." I'm trying to think of questions like people can ask him that's like thrown off. He didn't mean to, but it ended up poison. But Dave, I would say Dave. My brother lived with them for he was struggling. And my brother who played Zeo, David Trueheart on Zeo with the long hair, he was going to be the Gold Ranger though. He was, and so I was leaning him towards the the Gold Ranger. But he stayed at Dave's house for like a month, and Dave was gone. So my brother took his car for a week, and Dave's like, "Your brother stole my Mercedes, man, for a week." I'm like, "You got it back. He didn't steal it." But Dave was really nice to take care of my brother and all so I would probably say Dave. And again, I'm like a people's person. I work with a lot of Rangers. You might see some here, some it's not that I don't get along. It's just who clicks in life, who clicks. And you all have friends like that because you have 5 friends. You have 1 friend. They have 4 friends. You can't be forced to like the 4 friends as much as you like this guy, right? So I just kind of go with that. So Dave was definitely there for me, a lot. So when I read stuff I was mean to him and broke a brush over his head. That was just fun. I just went like this and the brush broke. He was like, "Why would you do that?" I don't know. It was just one of those movies. But anyway. Yeah. Yes.
Have you ever talked about the fight between you and CM Punk?
Oh, yeah, CM Punk's the one that started that in the panel. I never stood up and said, "I want to fight CM Punk." They asked who would win a fight, and one of my fans is on there and he says, "Would you fight him?" It was, "Yeah, I'd fight him." So then I took that as a professional challenge, and then he wanted to do MMA, so I was like, perfect, this would be a perfect opportunity. He's got fans, I got fans, we just go out there and do what we got to do. So, but I haven't heard from him. I mean, most of the time, the Van Dam thing. Van Dam wanted to fight. I mean, his dream was to fight. So I was trying to help the guy out, and I think it would be a fun fan fight. And everyone's like, "He's old." I'm like, "So what? I'm 40. I'm old too. Let's just, see 2 old people fight, like in the what's that movie? Grudge Match." Believe it or not, I like that movie. I was thinking, I'm gonna see 2 old people fight, and it was pretty good. You seen the Grudge Match? Yeah, it was with Stallone and Robert De Niro. Pretty funny, dude. It's pretty funny, and everything was funny because it was all social media driven. When they were fighting, all people were like, because that's the way it is now. You're an idiot or a jerk, and they're like, You know, so it was a pretty good movie. Yes.
Stay so positive and composed with all the stress on your own. Like, you know, you do all these shows and appearances, you own businesses and so many karate schools. Just have, you know, so much going on.
Well, you know, I appreciate you acknowledge that because no one's ever said that. Like out of any Q&A, no one's ever said that. And it is hard to balance, you know. And man, what keeps me positive and going? I don't know. But the one of the drivers took me here yesterday, and I was joking the whole way. And then he took me home at night, and I was joking the whole way. He's like, "Dang, you got a lot of energy." I think it's tricking your mind to wake up in that mood and say, it's going to be a great day. It's going to be a great, no matter if I'm doing a con, it's not about that. It's going to be a great day. It's going to be a great day. Now listen, I don't sit up here to be like I'm Mr. Positive and I'm Mr. Yeah, I struggle. You know what I mean? Like we go through these ups and we go through these downs. And when I do struggle, I will look on Facebook to see, hey, if I'm struggling and this person and I'm bringing them up, then it needs to balance out somehow. That's why sometimes when I see all the negativity on Facebook and I'm having a bad day, it's been a bad day for me. Like, you know, if I see some negativity, they're blocked. I mean, I just can't handle it, you know? And it's very rarely that happens. But I try to stay positive, and I really think that you all can see from the show from day one is I'm passionate about what I do. When I was hired for 10 episodes, I was so happy. I was like, heck yeah, 10 episodes. Like, you're going to die or whatever. I'm like, that's fine. Let's just do this. And so, honestly, I was happy to be Tommy. I never wanted to be the leader. That wasn't my intention to step up and go forcefully. I was so happy with what I did. Everyone else, they left for reasons, and I was happy. And they said they tried to better the show. But how can you better someone when you're better already? Don't try to better me when I'm better.